In this video, you're going to learn how to find leads that nobody else is finding by not relying on tools such as Apollo or ZoomInfo, and instead using new AI research agents that mimic human research behavior so that you can have full coverage of the leads that you want to reach out to. And most importantly, so that you can reach out to people that nobody else is reaching, so that these are the people who are not used to receiving a ton of cold emails, because this is a huge part of the problem of why people are marking you as spam or are getting annoyed that you're emailing them, because these are the same people who are receiving all of the emails over and over and over again. So let's just say, for instance, that you are using a database like Apollo. So I'm going to walk through what that looks like typically. Okay, for the sake of this example here, we're going to be looking at clutch.co. We're going to be looking at public relations firms. So let's say you want to reach out to PR firms. And I wanted to reduce this list for the sake of this video to just a much smaller list. So these are just going to be US companies, small ones, so that, maybe you have a good offer for small PR firms that you can help them, sign deals with enterprise companies. So obviously you have a very compelling offer for a very specific type of company. So these are 94 companies that Clutch found here. So the next thing I did here, I just scraped the information from the Clutch profile so that from there I can get the website, and then from there I can get the Apollo search. So I scraped all the information from this Apollo search. It's just 94 websites, so that was pretty simple. And that gave me the Clutch profile URL. It gave me the company name. It gave me a description of the company. I asked this AI research agent to go and find the website from the Clutch URL that we provided for it. But unfortunately, a lot of the times it wasn't finding it. I imagine Clutch has some kind of anti-scraping, things that are built into them so that, to avoid things like this. But that's fine. We also do have the actual description of the company. So instead, I just had the research agent go and find the website for the PR company called, company name, by doing a Google search, and then just cross-reference the description to make sure that we're talking about the right company here. And yeah, so for the 94 companies, we got the website for 92 of them. 2 of them we did not find the website for, but upon looking a little bit deeper, we saw that they are out of business. So actually excluding them is a wonderful thing here, because if you were to include their domain like you normally would on Apollo, you would just be reaching out to a founder of a company that no longer exists. So I exported this into a spreadsheet, and that gave me all of the website URLs here. So all I have to do is copy those, put them here on Apollo to just search within the domains of the companies that we wanted to look at here. So this is the full list of contacts that Apollo found at these companies. So we gave it a list of 92 domains. It found 336 contacts. And from that, we want to make sure, we get specifically, we want to reach out to CEO and founders, right? Like, anything like that. So whenever you include, the job titles of CEO and founders, you get all of these leads here, but sometimes, Apollo just doesn't have the contact, and that's just, the nature of it. But as you can see, even including the ones that Apollo did find, so let me just exclude the ones that it didn't find. Only including the ones that it did find, it found 26 contacts. So 26 contacts out of 92 companies. This is roughly speaking, 20% of the list, maybe closer to 25. Sorry, I don't do math on the fly like that. But that's obviously, rather unacceptable, because we have a very specific offer for these very specific 92 companies. And every single company, one thing that every single company has in common is that they have a founder. So that's just the nature of using a database like Apollo. It's nothing. I use Apollo for a lot of reasons, and I can make a whole video about when I do use Apollo, but this is a perfect example of the limitations of it that stop a lot of people. So most people would just get these contacts, reach out to them, and wish for the best. But these are the contacts that are receiving pitches often, and there are probably 70 other founders out there that also fit the same criteria that are not being reached out to often because they do not appear on databases like this. So what do we do instead? What I did was I imported the list of the founders that Apollo did find. As you can see, here's that list. And then I came back to this company list that I had originally of the 94 companies. And now what I did was I checked first to see if Apollo did find the founder for these companies. So if they appeared on this other list of Apollo, then that's where this green check mark is. But as you can see, there's a whole lot more red than there is green. So, and now what I did was I actually asked the AI research agent to go visit the website of these companies and find their LinkedIn profile, find out who their founder is. Just thinking about it the way that you would manually do this as a human being, how would you find the founder of a company? LinkedIn would be the first place I would check, just, going to the company LinkedIn profile itself, and then just looking through the people at that page. So that's basically what I told it to do. I said, find the company's LinkedIn profile, visit the people section on the company's LinkedIn page, and then search for CEO, founder, or owner. If no match is found, check for other common, founder related titles such as principal, partner, president, or other titles that indicate that they're the founder or primary contact at the company. We want to verify that this LinkedIn profile is connected to the company. And if we do find it, then we want to make sure that we get the full name of the person, their job title, the LinkedIn profile URL of the person. And if you don't actually find them, then what you can do is the natural next step. You are actually wanting to reach this person. So you're not going to give up there if you're a normal person trying to reach out to somebody. You probably, next step would be to go to the company's website, click around the website. Maybe if you find an About Us section, who we are, leadership, or our story, then you're going to likely find names of people who work at that company. If there's just one name, that's probably the founder. But if there's more than one name, then the founder is definitely going to be one of them. So, then if they describe that that's the founder, perfect. Now you have the person's name, and, you can go and try to find them that way. So that's exactly what we asked AI to do here. And it did a much, much better job. As you can see, basically every single time where there is a red X, meaning that the Apollo search didn't find the founder, then we asked AI to go find it. And when there's a check mark, that means that AI was able to find the founder. So if we were able to find the founder, then that's perfect. Here's the name of the founder, and we have the company's domain. Then we just found the work email for this founder. Using some tools, we used a waterfall enrichment, which basically a waterfall enrichment is using all sorts of data sources, because all of these tools such as Find Email, Lead Magic, the Tagma, Hunter, all of them have different methods of finding a work email for a contact. So that's what's really cool about using a waterfall enrichment. This is just a way to really have a comprehensive search across all of these different data providers for making sure that you do everything that you can do to find the right email for this contact. So the end result for this was, after looking through all of these, as you can see here, look, we searched on this data provider, didn't find it, 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 didn't find it. And finally, the final place that we checked actually found the email. So now right here on this last column here is the combined emails of all of the different places that we checked for the founder's email. So initially, as a reminder from Apollo, we started with a list of, 26? Yeah, 26 contacts. And after doing all of this to find the right person, we ended up with, instead of just 26 people to reach out to, we ended up with a full list of, I did that backwards. That was really anticlimactic. We ended up with a full list of 71 contacts. So quite literally tripled the amount of contacts of founders at these very, very specific types of companies that this very specific offer would want to reach out to. This is unbelievably important, because this is how you are reaching out to people that nobody else is reaching. And what does this look like in actual practice? This was just a random example. I had run a couple of campaigns by also scraping Clutch, because we have helped dozens of marketing companies really just change their cold email luck entirely, because most marketing companies that we've spoken to have tried cold email in the past and they haven't seen any success. But then when we come on, we help them define their offer. We help them come up with an email that actually, gets people to schedule calls with them and move forward and become clients with them. And we have all sorts of case studies that we can go into about that, but that's not what this part's about. Basically, since we have all of those dozens of case studies helping marketing companies, then the natural thing is for us to reach out to other marketing companies to let them know that we can help them if they are struggling with the same thing. So because of that, we went to Clutch. We got a list of over 10,000 companies, marketing companies that met this criteria, and I did a normal Apollo search for them. That gave me a total of over 16,000 leads. So over the course of a couple of campaigns, we reached out to these 16,000 leads, and we got very, very little results. On average, each campaign was getting us just 2 booked calls, which was very different from the same messaging that we reached out to a totally different leads list and got 17 booked calls. So clearly something was wrong with these leads. This is where I discovered this problem, that these 16,000 leads weren't necessarily the right type of prospect. And in this case, it wasn't necessarily that Apollo didn't have enough coverage because we had so many companies to look at. It's also the issues with the filtering. So let me just show you what I'm talking about here. Let me clear these companies. So let's just say that, for example, you want to reach out to health and wellness companies. So a health and wellness keyword would be good, like, health and wellness itself. You might want to do supplements. You might want to do vitamins. You might want to make sure that they have a Shopify page, and that would make sure that that they're an e-commerce brand, and you can include other technologies such as BigCommerce or WooCommerce, etc. And then you can continue to add more keywords here to ensure that you're reaching out to health and wellness brands in particular. So one thing that can happen though accidentally whenever you're doing this is this is a pretty crazy example, but you might add a keyword like e-commerce, which is obviously a relevant keyword. But what that does is now it includes all of the companies that would also be an e-commerce company. So if you go back to when we were just looking at health and wellness and supplement and vitamins companies, we had 19,000 companies. We added e-commerce as one of the keywords to include, and that gave us another like 4,000 companies that are not going to be specifically relevant to this health and wellness, vitamins and supplements specific offer. So this is one of the possible situations that can happen with Apollo. In our case, it was something similar. Since we were reaching out to marketing companies, we were including marketing decision makers in this list. And of course, with marketing companies, they're going to have a lot of marketing roles. So somebody who might be a digital marketing manager could technically be classified as a marketing decision maker in the eyes of Apollo whenever you're doing these searches. But that might actually just be somebody who is on the fulfillment side of the marketing agency, which means that they are not an actual decision maker for our offer in particular. So what we found by doing exactly what I just walked through here is that of these 10,000 companies, first of all, a lot of them, even if they came from Clutch, were not necessarily active companies. So I just checked, first of all, if their page would load. And when I filtered out the companies whose websites didn't even load, as you can see here, we removed about 800 companies. So there's absolutely no reason to be reaching out to anybody whenever their website doesn't even load, because that's a huge indicator that they're not even an active business. So if I just did the typical Apollo search, then we would be reaching out to at least 800 companies that have literally no website right now. So that's the first thing that we filtered out there. I also did basically the exact same thing that I just walked you through in this example, where I noticed that we didn't even have the founder for all of them. Actually, you can see the types of job titles that we had originally on here that we pulled in through Apollo through using that filter. So obviously an account executive is bad, but yeah, right here, a marketing manager, head of productions manager. So, a lot of job titles. So here's actually the founder, which you can see that was Jesse. Where is that? Yeah, Jesse Ostel. So that's fine. We actually found that person well, no issues there. But then there were a lot of companies where we had a lot of contacts that we did find, such as this one, we found 3 contacts, but none of them were actually the founder who we wanted to reach out to. So, we did find, for example, their digital marketing specialist, but we didn't find their founder. So then we did a search, we found their founder, and then we found their email. And then another thing that we wanted to look at to qualify these leads was that we wanted to only reach out to marketing agencies when they had actual case studies, because we have found that our services work best for companies that do have case studies. So then we did another filter here for making sure that we checked all of their websites to see if we found case studies. Wherever we didn't find case studies, then we had it output none found. And by doing that, then we halved the list of companies that we were reaching out to, or the people that we reached out to. So what we ended up here with is a list of just under 5,000 people that are the actual founders or direct decision makers that we should be reaching out to, instead of the original 16,000 that we got from Apollo. What this equals is a much smaller list, yes, which of course means that, we're not wasting our sends on a bunch of irrelevant people, on 70% of our sends being to an irrelevant person. It's also a really good indicator to Gmail and Outlook that you are sending spam if a majority of people or almost everybody is completely ignoring your emails. And the best way to get your email ignored is to send an email that's not relevant to anybody. So in this way, we were able to make sure that we are reaching out to the relevant person with a relevant offer, calling out their case study, because that's why our offer is relevant to them. And this way, we went from reaching out to 12,000 people who we shouldn't be reaching out to just 4,000 people who we should be reaching out to. So this is incredibly powerful. If this is something that you are interested in, then what we can do for you is we will actually map out your entire TAM for you, your total addressable market. And the reason that this is really important is that once you know everybody who you can reach out to, you know how many emails you should be sending out, you know what companies you want to enrich, what company information you want to enrich, and you also can start tracking these companies. So for example, if you want to reach out to a founder, then you might be tracking their activity so that whenever they post on LinkedIn, you are notified, and then we can reach out to them because they posted on LinkedIn, or anything like that that might be an intent signal for your specific offer. So just letting you know, this is the best way that we know how to do this. Let me know if you have any thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.